Hello everyone, I'm the great Curator and welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. This is going to be my reaction video to the big bombshell news that happened earlier this morning about eBay suspending PWCC, accusing them of allegedly helping to facilitate shill bidding. So I'm going to get into that, but just before I get into that real quick, if you guys are new to my channel, I make these videos for educational purposes. This is me, just my opinion, my rants on the hobby, but basically I try to make videos to help people get started in the hobby and educate them. And then I also, I'll give my opinions about certain things like what's happened today, okay? If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, please hit the like button. That encourages me to continue to make these videos, and the more videos I make, the more they will improve. I promise that. So please support me, I appreciate that. Okay, so just to get straight into this, let me catch you guys up to speed if you're not aware of what's going on and this is the first time you're hearing this news today. But basically, eBay put out a statement that was widely shared across the entire community. Everybody's talking about it. Basically accusing PWCC that they engaged in shill bidding. So, the details in the statement that they put out are very vague. They don't really give much support other than their accusation, but we can assume, I think it's safe to say that eBay conducted a thorough investigation. They're not just some guy, throwing an opinion, letter out there. They're a legit organization. They're a major player in this community, in this market. So they probably conducted a thorough investigation before they would ever issue a statement like this, okay? And it's against their biggest seller on their platform for cards, PWCC. I was reading that they sell somewhere between 150 to 200 million cards, dollars per year in card sales, which is a huge chunk of revenue for eBay. So for them to put out this statement against their essentially biggest client is a hammer, okay, in terms of stopping shill bidding going on. But it's basically just a bombshell for the hobby, guys. So that's what's happening. That's what everybody's talked about. So this is my reaction video. First, I'm gonna basically give my opinion about what I think about shill bidding and this accusation, and then I'll tell you guys what I think this will mean for the hobby going forward. Okay, so let me just talk about like shill bidding. If you don't know what shill bidding is, I've talked about this in my other videos, but basically it's when one person, puts an auction out there and then they purposely bid up the price with no intention to pay for it to either get a final sale price that's higher, or what a lot of people do is they use it to increase the comp on their cards so that they can sell their own cards. So even if they're not involved in the actual auction, it's not their listing, it's not their card, people will still bid up that auction because they have the same card and they're hoping that will set the new price for that card in the market, and then they can turn around and sell it for that price or higher. So that's what shill bidding is, okay? This is a huge problem. I've talked about this many times before. If you go to my Instagram post, some of my earliest posts were about my frustrations with eBay, with the shill bidding process, and why people were so heavily set on using eBay as comps when the data could clearly be manipulated, right? So I talk about this. I've talked about this for months. It's been like my personal mission to kind of educate people on how they use eBay comps and how they need to factor in the fact that eBay auctions can be manipulated one way or another. They can either be manipulated up, or they can be manipulated through different variations to drive the price down. Okay, so I've talked about this many times before. I just put out a video last Friday, if you haven't checked it out yet, on how to properly use eBay comps, and a big part of that video is where I talk about shill bidding, and I put a clip on my Instagram, so check that out. But basically that's what shill bidding is, okay? Everybody does it, not just PWCC. Everybody is subject, every auction on eBay is subject to shill bidding, which is terrible, right? But that's just the reality of the situation, right? But PWCC, since they deal with so many cards, since they have so many people involved in their process, they're probably one of the bigger violators of shill bidding out there, to be honest, okay? I've talked about this before. Their practices, I think, are bad for the hobby. Their practices of listing multiple auctions ending within seconds of each other, does a disservice to their sellers. Their practice of, allowing shill bidding to happen on their site, whether they knew about it or not, you can clearly see from the data that it's obvious that some auctions end higher for no apparent reason other than shill bidding. So overall, PWCC, they're a great platform for listing cars. You can get some great deals there, but in my opinion, they've done a lot of harm to the hobby in the last months, and they may be one of the major driving factors of why there was such a price spike earlier this year. We don't know, but apparently that's what eBay's accusing them of. Okay. So you might be asking yourself, okay, well, why is this a big deal, right? So if PWCC is accused of shill bidding, why should you care? Okay. The reason you should care, and because if you've never been on those auctions, why should you care, right? The reason you need to pay attention to this story, okay, and what's happening is because what happens with a large platform like a large seller like PWCC that commands so much market share in card sales is that the data that the auctions that they're doing establishes a baseline of data that people rely on to determine fair market value of pricing. So what I mean by that is eBay sells a Michael Jordan PSA 10 card, right? They sell it for $830,000. All right. Now everybody thinks that card is worth $830,000, which it may be worth that much, it may be worth less, I don't know, but that's the baseline that everybody's going off of because they're using that eBay comp to determine that price. All right. And they're just blindly using that. They're blindly following that comp without considering all the factors that go into an auction that would determine whether that was a fair market value price or if people got in a bidding war or whatever. People, misuse that information to determine the fair market value. So that example can apply to every single card out there, okay? Unless it's a 101 card, every card out there has probably gone through PWCC auctions at some point, and people are using that data to determine the price. All right. So that is why this is significant, because if PWCC was involved, or maybe they turned their head and allowed shill bidding on their auctions on their platform, that affects every other card in the market. Okay. And if other platforms like Probstein or other consignment stores or other people that run a lot of auctions on eBay, if they see that type of behavior happening and they see that auctions are getting away with that and people are profiting from that type of manipulation, that encourages other bad actors to get involved in the act. Okay, think of it like steroids back in the 80s and 90s, right? If people were using steroids and maybe they knew it was bad, but everybody was using it, you had to do that too to be competitive. Same thing that's happened. That same example is happening here in the current market today. If people are shill bidding and people are manipulating auctions, then other people are going to see that behavior and think it's acceptable, and they're going to do the same thing. And that is what I have a big problem with. That is what I think really hurts eBay's credibility. And the reason I've argued about using eBay comps as the end-all be-all to determine a fair market value of a card. I've talked about this many times before. If you've watched any of my videos, you know that I'm a big advocate about getting away from using eBay comps and coming up with your own valuation based on several different data points. Okay, so this kind of validates the arguments that I've been making, and it reaffirms those points. So basically, there was a lot of funny business going on. PWCC they're not the only people that have done this or have facilitated this process, but they're the biggest name out there. So they're going to take the blunt of the blame on this. But if they're facilitating or allowing bad behavior to happen in their auctions and other people are following that example, that's affecting the entire market. And I think that's a big problem. That's what has caused the volatility in the market over the last year. Prices got driven way up, okay? And then when people started to realize that it was getting a little too crazy, they dropped way down. And a lot of people lost money. A lot of people got frustrated. A lot of people became underwater on the cards because of that type of manipulation. And if you look back over the course of a year, you'll see that this happens, every few months or so. You know, when there's a lot of hype involved, there's a lot of shill bidding involved, and it drives up the market. You know, call it what you will, pump and dump or whatever it is. You know, but that has happened, guys. So for eBay to listen to the feedback, to conduct their own investigation on this, I'm very happy. You know, I applaud them. That establishes a lot of credibility to me in terms of eBay as a legitimate platform to use for data to determine the fair market value of cards. That is huge, guys. Okay, so that's basically what has happened. Okay, so what kind of impact do I think that this is going to have on the hobby moving forward? Well, number one, I think all the other sellers out there are going to think twice about their practices if they engage in shill bidding or try any type of manipulations on the auctions. I think they're going to think twice, depending on how serious the penalty is for PWCC. If PWCC basically ends their partnership on eBay and they go off and they create their own website and sell cards and all their auctions are listed, I think that's huge. You know, PWCC can have their own auction site. They have the credibility, they have the infrastructure to do that. They have the brand name, but I think that this is going to hurt their credibility and people are going to think twice. Plus, I think that even if they spin off and have their own website, people are still going to go to eBay because eBay is just so convenient, so easy, so established in our culture that even though PWCC might have a different platform, might give better rates, people are still going to go back to eBay. Okay. So, you know, depending on how serious, you know, whether the suspension is permanent or not, that's going to say a lot. That's going to basically put everybody else on notice. All these other big consignment groups like ProSign, ComC, all those guys, and even the smaller guys down to like the individual seller. It's going to put them on notice, and they're going to think twice about, you know, what they're, you know, whether they're going to try to manipulate their auctions or not. That's number one. Okay. Number two, I think it's going to also affect everybody else that's trying to manipulate other people's auctions for their own benefit. You know, if eBay is tracking these things and if you get accused and you can, you know, get kicked off the eBay platform, that's going to make people think twice. You know, I've seen this happen many times, not just on my, you know, on auctions that I participated in, but I've accused other people of shill bidding auctions up for that fact. So I think that that's going to play a role. That's basically going to wake up the entire hobby and be like, look, this practice that was acceptable before or never even talked about, just basically looked the other way. I think now people are going to start talking about it. All right. So that's going to bring a lot of attention to this. And I think that that's going to impact prices moving forward. If auctions are no longer openly shill bid up like that, then maybe prices will go down. So, you know, get ready for that. As far as eBay goes, whether they're going to be affected or not, you know, eBay is so powerful. eBay is such an established brand. Even if PWCC generates $200 million a year for them, that's nothing. You know, if PWCC is not in that spot, somebody else will jump up and take that spot and they'll make their money. So, you know, as far as eBay goes, they're in the position where they can pretty much do whatever they want. And I think that this move was not motivated by revenue or profit, but motivated in terms of protecting their brand, protecting their credibility as a platform where people can go on there and, you know, transact, and protecting their image because people are using their data, which is very important, very valuable data, to determine fair market value prices of cards. So they're taking a step to protect their brand, basically. So I applaud them for that. I think that there's probably going to be a mass exodus from using PWCC as a platform. If you guys don't know, they also have other little side services where they hold your cards in their vault. They allow you to sell your cards through their platform very easily. So I think those little side businesses of theirs, I think people are probably going to start pulling their cards out of the PWCC vault when the dust settles here. So that's going to happen. And then you're going to see you're going to see cards pretty much flood the market because they were sitting in PWCC. Now they're coming back out. Now they're going to be sold somewhere else. So be prepared for that. I also think that, you know, maybe this is a step for, you know, more oversight in the hobby. Right now, like the card hobby is like the Wild Wild West, right? There's no regulations, there's no oversight. You can do whatever you want. There's rampant fraud, there's manipulations here and there. So maybe this will lead to some of the bigger players in the hobby to take an active role in policing the community or oversight. You know, I'm talking eBay, I'm talking, you know, like these big platforms like Golden, you know, PSA. Maybe they will use their clout, their resources to try to, you know, bring a little bit more structure to the hobby where the prices are not so volatile, right? So I think that's probably likely to happen. But overall, I'm not surprised with this move in terms of that this is a widely understood and acknowledged practice. I'm not surprised that this was being put out in the forefront. I am a little bit surprised that they did take this step to call out PWCC, one of the biggest auction houses out there. But I am happy that eBay put their reputation and credibility before profit. I'm very happy about that. Overall, I think that this is healthy for the community, and I think that we should all continue to have this discussion, okay? And connect this discussion to using eBay comps as a one-stop valuation for cards, okay? It is not the only data point that is out there. Watch my other videos about this. I'm not going to get into a long conversation about this, a long discussion, but this is going to be good for the hobby, guys, basically, okay? I think that this will help shed some light on what's going on, and it will draw attention away from using eBay comps as the only method for evaluating cards, okay? So again, that's just my little rant on this. You know, feel free to leave comments. Let's have this discussion, guys. This is very healthy for the community. It's very educational for everybody. So have this discussion with your friends, with your community. Leave comments in this video. DM me on Instagram. I am at the great Curator. Okay. Follow, like, subscribe, share, do all that stuff, guys. We need to talk about this. Okay. Put this out there in the community. We need to talk about this. We need to acknowledge that this is happening and see how we can improve as a community, as a hobby, so that these type of things do not hurt the credibility of the hobby. One last thing I'll say about that is that, guys, we all have a role to play in protecting our hobby. I will make a separate video about this. I've talked about this before, but basically, if our hobby loses credibility, there goes the investment for all our cards. They will go to zero, okay? So we all have to take an active role in protecting the credibility of the hobby to prevent these type of bad actors from being involved and manipulating our market, our values on our cards. We all have to take a role in this, okay, guys? So that's it. This rant took a little bit longer than I thought, but continue that discussion. Hit the like button, subscribe, share, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you.